Okay, this is history for Thursday, December 3rd. We're going to start with doing the Northeast and the Southeast states as review for the quiz that will be next week during after the distance learning, and also the test, which will be at the end of that week. Okay, so both of them will have this on it. So, Maine, New Hampshire, Vermont, New York, Massachusetts, Rhode Island, Connecticut, New Jersey, Delaware, Maryland, and Pennsylvania. West Virginia, Virginia, North Carolina, South Carolina, Georgia, Alabama, Mississippi, Louisiana, Arkansas, Tennessee, Kentucky, and Florida. Let's do it again. We'll start with the southeast and go up to the northeast. Louisiana, Arkansas, Mississippi, Alabama, Georgia, Florida, Tennessee, Kentucky, West Virginia, Virginia, North Carolina, South Carolina, Maryland, Delaware, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, New York, Massachusetts, Rhode Island, Connecticut, Vermont, New Hampshire, Maine. All right? Make sure you know those. You can study them in the backs of your books. In the 400 something, you can find all of those maps. All right, we're going to read next about Sacagawea. We've already been talking about Sacagawea when we were talking about Lewis and Clark and the Corps of Discovery. And now we're just specifically going to focus on Sacagawea. All right, so starting on page 188, Sacagawea, circa 1788 to 1812, Sacagawea's tribe. Sacagawea was born the daughter of a Shoshone chief. The Shoshone Indians, a tribe of wanderers who lived near the Rocky Mountains, were known for raising and taming horses. They moved from place to place when they needed to hunt or find shelter from the harsh winters. Each Native American was given a name which meant something special. Sacagawea's name meant bird woman. Top of the next page. As a child, Sacagawea learned which plants could be used for food and medicine and which plants were dangerous. She learned how to find the best places to fish. Sacagawea also learned how to use the buffalo for food, clothes, teepee parts, and tools. She was always eager to help and learn new things. All right, and they're showing right there a buffalo hide stretched out to dry. Captured. Run! Sacagawea heard someone yell. She began to run, but there was no use. The Shoshone were under attack by another tribe. Sacagawea and many of her people were captured or killed during this attack. Sacagawea was taken away from her family. Would she ever see them again? Sacagawea, the daughter of a chief, was now a prisoner more than 600 miles from home. Sometime after being captured, Sacagawea met a French fur trader from Canada who came to the Native American village. Soon they were married. Many changes had happened during Sacagawea's short life, but there were more to come. All right, let's read the important word and the important places before we turn the page. First, the important word is altitude, the height or elevation above sea level. So speaking of the Rocky Mountains, their altitude is very high above sea level. All right, Rocky Mountains, a major mountain range in western North America. Pompey's Pillar, a rock formation named for Sacagawea's son. Remember his nickname was Pomp or Pompey, and there is a rock formation out west that you could see that's named after him. All right. Next page, 190, turn the page. Going on the expedition. Meriwether Lewis and William Clark were on an expedition to explore the land in the West and report their findings to President Thomas Jefferson. How could they use the new land? What new plants and animals would they find? Because winter was coming, the group stopped to build a winter fort. They would stay there until spring when it was safe to start their journey again. Lewis and Clark began to talk to the people they met. They knew they needed one more person to join their group. They hoped to find the Shoshone Indians who might trade with them for horses. Lewis and Clark knew that their boats would only take them so far. They would need the horses to make the trip over the mountains. But how could they trade with the Shoshone if they could not speak their language? They asked Sacagawea and her husband to join them. Yes, Sacagawea's husband agreed. I speak French and my wife is a Shoshone. If you take us both, we could be of great help. The decision was made. When spring came, Sacagawea and her husband would join the team. All winter long they made plans. However, when the group was ready to leave, they added one more person to the trip. Sacagawea brought Pompey, her new baby, along. Lewis and Clark may have wondered how Sacagawea could be helpful while caring for a baby, but they set out in their boats. Down the river they went, led by a young Indian woman with a baby tied to her back. And in the picture you would see how she would have carried her baby in a little pack on her back. And that's where we're going to stop for today. But we are not done. I want to review for the quiz that we'll be taking after we are finished with distance learning. This will be at the beginning of the week. All right, so who was chosen to explore the territory purchased by President Jefferson? So this is talking about, who did President Jefferson choose? Lewis and Clark. Lewis and Clark. And when the group reached the west coast, what ocean did they see for the first time? So what ocean is on the west coast? Pacific Ocean. All right. So as they were traveling, seeing Sacagawea and her baby with the expedition helped the Native Americans know that the men were coming in peace. They were coming in peace. They would not come to fight with a baby and a woman. So that's how they knew they were coming in peace. Sacagawea was part of the Shoshone tribe known for raising horses. The Shoshone tribe was known for raising horses, raising and taming horses. Thomas Jefferson called the group of explorers the Corps of Discovery. The Corps of Discovery. Sacagawea and her what were asked to be guides and interpret for the expedition through the Louisiana Territory. Sacagawea and her husband. Sacagawea and her husband were asked to guide and interpret for the expedition through the Louisiana Territory. Who is the explorer who became governor of the Louisiana Territory? Meriwether Lewis. Meriwether Lewis became the governor. And who was the explorer who became general of the militia in the Louisiana Territory? William Clark. William Clark, general of the militia. Meriwether Lewis, governor. The Shoshone guide and translator for the expedition to the Louisiana Territory. Sacagawea, Shoshone guide. Sacagawea. Clark's nickname for Sacagawea's son. Pomp or Pompey. Pompey. All right. You also need to know the northeast and the southeast. I am going to take these down now. And underneath, I have the Midwest. Okay, we are going to do the Midwest, but we're also going to do Map Skills 15. So if you need to pause the video to get your map skills, then do so. Okay, and we are going to do the Midwest, and then we're going to answer some questions in map skills. So if you need to pause the video to get your map skills, do so, and then start me back up again. All right. North Dakota, South Dakota, Nebraska, Kansas, Minnesota, Iowa, Missouri, Wisconsin, Illinois, Indiana, Ohio, Michigan. One more time. North Dakota, South Dakota, Nebraska, Kansas, Minnesota, Iowa, Missouri, Wisconsin, Illinois, Indiana, Ohio, and Michigan. By the way, this right here, that would be West Virginia, and there's Pennsylvania, okay? So that's how it is in relationship. This would be Kentucky, okay? So, Today, for map skills, they are showing you the Midwest, but they are focusing on this state. So they've taken Nebraska and they've magnified it bigger so you can just see Nebraska. They've also put it in one of those grids with A, B, C on the side and 1, 2, 3 across the top. And we're going to answer some questions. Okay? So if you look at the map, okay, notice right here is what I'm talking about. There's Nebraska. So they took Nebraska and they made it bigger. Okay? Number 1, it says, which river runs along the eastern border of Nebraska? Remember, east is to the right, so we'll go over to the right. And what is the name of the river you see over there? It's in the top right-hand corner. It says Missouri River. All right, so you can copy the word Missouri River. It's up in the top right-hand corner of the map of Nebraska. So copy Missouri River on the line. All right, the second question says, which city is closest to the Missouri River? So you need to follow the path of Missouri River. Remember, it's along the eastern border. So what city is right there on that border, right there on the Missouri River? Omaha. Omaha. So copy the word Omaha. That dot of Omaha is right on the river there. Which city is the capital of Nebraska? Now you got to remember, the capital is the one that has the star. That's what the map key tells us. Lincoln. Like Abraham Lincoln. So copy the word Lincoln. It's the one with a star. All right, the next one, number 4, says, if you drove from Scottsbluff to Grand Island, which direction would you be traveling? So that means you need to be on Scottsbluff first, and then find where it says Grand Island. All right, so if you're at Scottsbluff and you're going to Grand Island, you're going down and to the right. So down is south and to the right is east. So that would be southeast. Very good. So copy the word southeast. Maybe I should write that one because I don't think they have that one anywhere for you. So south east. O-U with the word south. To make sure you spell it right. All right. Which river runs through grid box C2? All right. So that means you're going to be across from letter C and right above number 2. All right. Do you see that river? That would be pronounced the Platte River. It looks like plate with 2 T's, but it's pronounced Platte River. Okay? So make sure you spell it correctly. 2 T's, P-L-A-T-T-E, not plate. Platte River. All right, and then they ask which city is located in grid box C2. So again, across from the C and in that same box with the Platte River, what city is that? Hastings. It is pronounced Hastings. So copy the word Hastings for that last question. And that's all for today. Okay? See you tomorrow.